A new arcade Bartop shooter, AtGames Killer Instinct teaser, and yes, in 2025 we have a new Arcade1up owner buying guide. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened this week in home arcades. Episode 187. Thank you so much for stopping by and being here. And happy Mother's Day. I hope that if you're not a mother, you took care of the mothers in your life, whether they be your wives, your moms, your daughters, who knows. Happy Mother's Day. Without the moms putting up with us in this hobby, how would we remember to pay the bills? So there's that. Thank you so much, everybody, once again for stopping by, taking a little bit of time out of your holiday weekend, because Mother's Day is a big deal. It's very important. She put me to work this weekend. We got flowers in pots randomly placed around the yard. It's crazy. It's all over the place. But it was a good time. It was a fun time. We also had some family and friends over. My son's birthday party was this weekend, so it was great to have everybody together. And yes, the arcade saw a lot of usage. The Silver Strike Bowling saw a lot of usage. Everybody lined up and got plugged in, and we're playing and having a great time. Lots of competition. Words were said. I had to break up a few fights, but other than that, it was fine. It was non-eventful. And one thing that makes it all eventful or uneventful and fine is having a little drink. This night is no exception. We have some bourbon in the glass, and tonight we're going back to the Penelope bourbon. This is a gift from Gallagher Guy 88. Thank you so much for that. And it's pretty good. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, but sometimes you need a little bit of a bite. So everybody, happy Mother's Day once again. Cheers. We got some stuff to talk about, some different things. And yes, we're going to talk about an Arcade1up buyer's guide, but specifically new Arcade1up owners. Believe it or not, I've actually had some people in the comments section trying to get started in this hobby, and they're surprised they can't find certain cabinets. So we're going to talk about that tonight, and I want everybody to participate and jump in and let us know what you think about what's currently out there, and if there's some website that they can go to actually check it out. Should be a lot of fun tonight, because I'm also going to give some ideas on maybe ways to recreate cabinets that either existed before or never existed to begin with. So yeah, let me know what you're drinking in the chat. Hopefully everybody, like I said, has had a great weekend, and I got to know something else besides your weekend. I need your help in the poll question that's in the chat. Every week we have a poll question in the chat, live chat. This one is no exception. Today we're talking about, keeping with the theme of getting started in home arcade. Let's pretend like you don't have a home arcade. You've been given $2,000. What do? Here are your four options. You go out and you get yourself an AtGames 4KP. You go buy 4 Arcade1ups. You get a Vuelix, Candy Cab, or Multicade. I put those in as kind of one item because they are kind of like that. If you get a Vuelix or a Candy Cab, you got to bring a game to that. So that could be, you know, a PC, a console, a Pandora's box, whatever. And so that kind of makes it a multi-cade. So I thought I'd just throw that in there. And then your fourth option is going to be like a used Golden Tee, Silver Strike Bowling pedestal, anything from Incredible Technologies. But you can't buy that stuff new for $2,000. You got to find something used. But that tends to be a real crowd pleaser. So I'm just curious what everybody thinks about starting today with your home arcade journey. You got $2,000 as your budget. What would you purchase just to kick it all off? Let me know. Vote. I need to know where everybody's head is at. It's curious to see how some of our attitudes maybe have changed. Rewind the clock a few years, what we have done with $2,000. I would imagine it would be a little bit different. Okay, so we talked about the glass, what's in the glass. We talked about the poll, what's in the poll. Now we're going to talk to the first 10 comments. Not the best, not the most important, but the first 10 comments. The people that commented first, they show up, they set the stage, they set the standard, they fan properly. This is the proper fandom. Let's see who took the #1 spot. And this week it's Milkman Classics. What's going on, buddy? Taking the coveted number 1 spot. Thank you so much for being here. Yo, number 1, hooray for me. Happy Sunday, Fox. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Y'all deserve to be celebrated pretty much every day, but we'll make it a special day today. Thank you so much for being here, man. We got Molar Medic sliding in there to the number 2 spot. Second place, having some Miller Lite. There we go. Hope all the moms out there here had a great day. Absolutely. Hope you're coming along well with that Road Blasters. The owner's manual is going to be in the mail this week, I promise. Coming in third, but thinking they were second, is Cat Dad's Arcade. So close. It's so far away. Nah, third place is not a bad place to be. Hey, coming in number 4th, we know this guy, Gallagher Guy, 88. What's going on, buddy? Finally made the top 10. Now what to say? So much pressure. Oh, I got it. You got the touch. You've got the power. Yeah. This guy just watched Transformers 1985. And I am so envious of you to be able to watch that for the first time. That's pretty awesome. And he thought it was okay. He thought it was, it was all right. No, I'm just kidding. Check out his channel if you want the review of that. Had a good time. Him and Chaotic waxed poetic about their first viewings of Transformers 1985. Coming in the number 5 spot is Angelo P. What's going on, buddy? Good evening, Fox and chat. We'll have to catch you guys on the replay. I'm on vacation down in Cancun. Very nice. You will recognize me when I get back. I'm the guy with the sunburn and tan lines. Let's hope you make it back with minimal burning, more tanning, and enjoy yourself, man. I know for a fact you got something good to drink in your glass for sure. Coming in number 6 spot is Kevin Clausen. What's going on, buddy? I had a dream. Your destiny in life is to contact Jim Carrey and convince him to make Dumb and Dumber 3. You are to play the son of Seapass and go across the country to get revenge for your father. I don't hate that idea. I don't. Let's make that happen. We'll make it happen. I'll call him. I've got him on speed dial. Frank D is coming in the number 7 spot. What's going on, buddy? I think I'll drink some Tullamore, DEW. It's pretty good. Awesome. And what also is awesome is gifting memberships to the channel, super chats, gifting memberships. This is all extremely appreciated, and the support is heartfelt. Appreciate it. Thank you so much again for another gift, Kevin. You are the best. Coming in the number 8 spot is Dan Z. What's going on, buddy? Cheers to the drink. There you go. Thumbs up. And cheers to the Fox drink. But I'm trying to transcribe these emojis. A lot going on here. Thank you so much for being here, Dan Z, as always, supporting. Jason is coming in the number 9 spot. Happy Sunday, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. I think I said it wrong. I think he meant mothers. Sorry, I just kind of said that the wrong way. Okay, coming in the number 10 spot is JJ. What's going on, buddy? The coveted number 10. Greetings, folks. Thank you so much for being here. We got David Dimmings in the house. We got Mike Hawkhurst also here. B. The Kirby. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. This guy always dropping links for his store, his merch store. Check it out. Check out the merch store. It's cool. It's the coolest, yo. Actually, it's the place where you can go and you can get pillows with my YouTube name on it. Look at that. Come on. Your arcade room, your game room deserves it. And it matches the chair. So if you've got a green or orange chair, even better. Steve Sale, thank you so much for being here, buddy, as always. Calvin Wong. Dane Bramage is also here. We got Sir Sega. We got Gramps Arcade. We got Israel Gaming. What's going on? Jonathan Bolin, what's going on? I'm choosing 1-ups simply because from the point of view of starting an arcade, you can theoretically get more diversity in a driving cab, light gun cab, fighting cab, and a classics cab. Think about it. Starting. That's the question. You're starting your home arcade. What would you do? No judgment here, buddy, and thanks for the input. Good way to look at it. A Tram Fanatic is also here talking about, hey, people, been a while for me. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully everything's going good for you, buddy. That's a great point. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Totally what I would do. Then mod with PCs. Exactly. The Real Zim is also here. There we go. The Be Me says, let's go. Let's do that. We got Stock Jock is also in the house. Jolly Green, great to see you, buddy. Nice to see you. It's been a little bit, but good to see you, man, as always. Jason Mucha is also here. MSU Rich, thank you so much for being here, buddy. Always enjoy you stopping by, hanging with us. Gamer Fridge is also chilling in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. John Fritz, Prince Vinny 007. What's up, man? Hey, pal, good to see you. I'm doing. How are you doing? I'm doing good. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing damn good. Rich Rodello is also here. Arcade Dave, I think we said hi to. Just want to make sure. Calvin Wong, Rich Rodello. We got Goofy Foot is in the house. What's going on? Would you say it was dumb? A trend fanatic? I don't know what he's talking about. Missed that part of the conversation. Keep on rolling. We got Thor, Casey. There you go. Gino, 7823 Iffy is also here. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. All the families, all the peoples, everybody. John J is also here. Marine 50. What is going on? TMC, NY. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's saying hi. Got some stuff to talk about. Got some stuff to share with you. Remember to vote in the poll question. Remember to kick back with your drink, relax, and let's go ahead. Let me click this button over here, this one out here, and let's go ahead and slide into the first topic. So if you remember from a little while back, I told you about this little company called Big Gun Arcade Games. And they make big gun arcades. Makes sense, right? Custom builds from a company, from a guy with a small team down there in Florida, made in the USA, which is incredibly relevant in today's political climate with trade wars and all the stuff going on. It's something that you really, really want to, to maybe consider when you're considering making a purchase. And this, listen, I've talked to this guy. I like this guy. We've had some conversations back and forth, and he's had some pretty cool products. But he came out with something recently that has really kind of piqued my interest. So here's his selection, a small number of different items, different variants of basically the same concept. The guns from back in the day that were mounted to the cabinets. Think about Sega's cabinets, right? Think about Gunblade NY. Think about LA machine guns, where the big guns are mounted to the actual pedestal, and it's more like the T2 guns from back in the day, where there's not really like a sensor. There's no Sending Light guns back then, but there's no sensor that's receiving. There's not like a camera at the end of the actual gun. It's just like basically just a position sensor inside the actual gun itself, and there's a reticle on the screen telling you what you're aiming at, right? These are really cool. They've got a lot of feedback. They've got some big solenoids inside that kind of give you that feedback, that big heavy vibration. A lot of fun. Tons of games, 300 plus, and these are not just old games from back in the day. There's a lot of modern games, like the new obviously well, I say new. These games are probably 5 years old, maybe some of these games, but still pretty new by arcade standards. So games like Terminator Salvation, the new Alien shooters, all these 16:9 widescreen games, as well as the old games from back in the day. They also have Rambo 3. I think it's just Rambo. I think it's all the Rambos. The newest one of the new ones, and I'm pretty excited about that one. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Would love to get my hands on one of these. Haven't done it just quite yet, but they've got something new. He just came out with it, and I wanted to talk about it because this is a really good idea, and it's the Bartop version of that same cabinet. So not everybody has room for a full-blown cabinet like his Recreation T2. Not everybody has room for the big giant cabinet that encases the TV, with the Sending Light guns, which is another variant that he has, the light gun shooter cabinet. And not everybody really has room for the entire pedestal, maybe. This, I thought, was a great example of kind of arcade gaming on the go. This thing is really slick, really cool. There's a YouTube video he's got on his channel talking about this particular version of his gun cabinet. And it's what you see right there is that's not like a little marquee. That's not like a sticker between the two speakers. That is actually a little LCD monitor that the PC is hooked up to, and it's a way to interact with this before you actually plug it into a big TV. So you can actually play the game on this little screen. It's not something you really want to do, but it's a cool way to kind of interact with the game, because once you do plug this into an HDMI source, any TV, right? You plug it in, then this does become the marquee. So when you plug that in, this is just going to highlight the game you're playing and become the little interactive marquee of the game you're playing. It's pretty slick, and this thing is portable for the most part. Obviously not small, but it is portable. So you can take this and put it on a coffee table. You can take it to a friend's house. You can do whatever. It's pretty slick. It's pretty it's pretty awesome, pretty solid from what I've seen. And like I said, I really would love to get my hands on one of these. Really would love to get my hands on one of these. Maybe, just maybe in the future, I'm going to get my hands on one of these. Now, what are the costs of these? That's going to be something you're going to want to know. Why is it over there? Come over here. There we go. The costs are, and they're all on sale, but these are not cheap, obviously. This is not like some Arcade1up where you're going to be at a nice price point of about $500 to $600. No, this is not that. This is going to be much more expensive, so it's not going to be for everyone. I acknowledge that completely. But you're looking at a recreation of like a Terminator 2 style cabinet, that midway style cabinet. You can have that for about 20, right at $3,000. The pedestal, just the pedestal itself, the ultimate pedestal, is going to be about $3,000. Another $3,000 if you want the light gun shooter cabinet, which is basically a big cabinet that has a monitor in it. I can't remember the size. I think it's a 43 inch. I'm not sure. You'd have to check the website and see. But that's using Send and light gun technology. The guns are all there. The sound and everything is there. That's you're about $3,000 for that, and then $2,500 for this portable version of his pedestal that integrates that LCD screen, that little bitty screen, and I think that's pretty sick. I think that's pretty sick. Now, it's not cheap at all, but if you're in the market for something, if you're looking for some kind of a gun multicade that doesn't use Send and light guns, maybe you like Send and maybe you want to use that, maybe you want to get back and step back, but maybe you don't have the room and the depth, which is another thing you got to consider when you're looking at something like this. Send and light guns, if you have like an Arcade1up, or even if you've got a Send and light gun setup, you need to be you need to stand a little bit of a distance away from the screen to really be able to have it track your movements, to be able to have that camera actually see that box. So it's something, you got to consider when you're talking about the depth of your arcade. If you're in a little hallway like I am, I'm kind of in a hallway, it would be nice to not have to worry about that sort of issue. I could put the screen pretty close, and it's really just tracking the position of the gun itself. Now, you can turn that off, that big solenoid inside that's thumping. You can turn that on and off if you want to. Different games react in different ways. It's got like I said, 300 shooting game. This thing is sick. So, like I said, I've talked to the guy, had several conversations, and he's a nice guy. He's a really good guy. Seems to be a family man, and he's really pumped about this. Wants to make a really good product. So I'm excited to showcase creators like this, or people that are just starting small businesses. We have a great relationship with GRS and Glenn and what he's doing, and that's awesome. But these are cabinets that are made here in America, and it's just another person that maybe you want to give some attention to. And if you're thinking about an all-in-one solution to be shipped to your house, because now the shipping is not included in that price. You gotta do that yourself. Either go pick it up, or you can use places like Fastenal is actually somebody that I've used, where if you've got a Fastenal close, they will ship something from Fastenal location to Fastenal location for very cheap when you consider the cost of like freight from UPS or anybody else. So you're gonna have to pay for the freight yourself or go get it. But beyond that, it's a really, really sick package. Check out his website. It's going to be in the description of this video. And on that website, you're going to see a link to his YouTube page where you're going to actually be able to see some of these arcade cabinets, these pedestals, these light gun games, not light gun games, but these, well, I guess they are light gun games, light gun cabinets in action. If you're considering it, maybe check him out. Because like I said, I can vouch for the guy. He's absolutely a good guy. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to kind of, Prince, you know what I'm talking about. You got to kind of stand back a little bit when you're talking about sending. Now, that's not really the case with this, because it's just looking at the position of the gun itself. If you can grab a fighter, a shooter, a 4-player beat 'em up, and racer along with the Star Wars and Tron for $2,000, that'd be the way that I basically went when I started, but not sure it's possible anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later, because you're absolutely right, Thor KC. In the beginning of all this, we had a little more variety, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, of course, my Star Wars is still stock. Yeah, you better not mess with that. You better not mess with that. So anyway, Big Gun Arcades, if you're interested in something like that, if you're in the market, if you want to spend that kind of money, that's the thing. If you're interested, that's one thing. Being able to spend that much money, that's a little bit of a different story for sure. It's something you got to be prepared for, something you got to consider when you're taking in the total cost of this purchase. And one of the things I like to take into consideration when thinking about cost, it's the cost of the $5 that Molar Medic just sent me. Thank you so much for your super chat, buddy. It is appreciated. Fastenal was great. Road Blasters was only $193 to ship from near Ohio to Florida. Thanks again, 19K. Yeah, so $200 to ship it from basically Cincinnati, right there on the Kentucky side of the river, all the way down to Florida. Location to location, less than $200. That's not bad when you're considering a full-size arcade cabinet. And the pallet that I shipped that on was a true 40 by 42 or 42 by 42. It was a full-size pallet, so it wasn't like it was something super small. So it's definitely something you want to check out if you want to, if you're considering any kind of big purchase, any kind of shipping, a big item. Don't discount Fastenal as a viable option. Thank you so much for $5 super chat, brother. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot of good places that we could go together, but unfortunately, you are going somewhere I can't go. That's to the pit.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Because if I went to the pit, I couldn't do the show. I couldn't finish the show. Anyway, Big Gun to Arcade Games. Check them out if you're interested. Once again, just a real dude. I've talked to him several times. Real dude, real guy. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see more of this company in the future. But who's to say? Okay, AtGames is setting the world on fire by eventually maybe coming out with a Killer Instinct pinball pack. I think it's actually a rare pinball pack, but we all want Killer Instinct. And we've been kind of chomping at the bit to figure out, what is this going to look like? I mean, it's Killer Instinct pinball. What's it going to feel like? Why is it delayed over and over again? Why is it so damn expensive? Is it going to be worth it? Well, you know how I feel about this when we're talking about IP. And IP is what pushes a lot of the sales of themed games, themed anything, especially pinball. Let's just be honest, right? I mean, if even brand new Stern pinball machines, if you have a non-recognizable IP, if it's George and the Peanut is the theme, it better be a really good table, because most people aren't going to spend $7,000 or $8,000. But we're not talking about $7,000 or $8,000. We're talking about $35 for this pinball pack. So, but you know, which is nothing to sneeze at. But it's not the most expensive thing in the world. But it still needs to be good. The IP is great, but if the game sucks, well, nobody really cares. But you also run the risk of tarnishing the brand. The IP that you paid all that money for. We're assuming they paid a lot of money for it, because the price of the table, this pinball pack, has gone, through the roof, comparatively speaking. We got our first glimpse of it. Now, we talked about Battletoads, I think it was last week or the week before. Talked about, it was 2 weeks ago. Talked about Battletoads and a little sneak peek where they dropped a sneak peek, a little trailer that I'm going to play for you right now of Killer Instinct. Here we go. Check it out.
Rise to the challenge! A swift blow. Triple combo. Super combo. Hyper combo. Brutal combo. Step into the arena. Only the strongest will survive.
It looks good. I mean, let me know what you think about it in the comments right now. Let me know. I like the way it sounds. I like the way it looks. But how is the game going to play? The more experience I get with AtGames, with pinball in general, the more I try to find out what I like and what I don't like as far as gameplay is concerned. And I think that there are a few things to consider when you're looking at this play field. It seems they've kind of allowed the IP, and this is, you can maybe say the same thing with Battletoads, but it's more so here. They've allowed the theme to sort of make up a big part of the table, which I think is fine, but the table needs to be very interactive. And this is a first look, obviously, we don't know everything, but there's a lot of real estate being taken up by not so much toys and targets and all that, but an interactive, or sort of I guess it's an interactive digital fight between two Killer Instinct players. I think that's Maya. I think it's Maya. I'm not sure who that is. Maya, and then of course Jago are up top there, and he throws a kick and then throws a punch, and I mean that's fine, and I think it would be kind of cool that if you keep racking up your score, you get some kind of a killer combo, or ultra combo, and then you actually see that happen up there where, oh, that's Kim Woo. If he just starts going crazy up there, that'd be kind of a neat thing. But that's not really a way you can get points. That's not like a target you can hit. That's not really an interactive part of the playfield. And look how much room it takes up. That's a lot of real estate when you're talking about a pinball table, right? The playfield. And if you look down low, I don't see a ton of stuff going on down there either. So you've got, to me, it's like, I just don't really. You got the sights and sounds, and that's cool, and you're initially going to like that. I know I'm going to like that, but I don't necessarily think that that was probably the best use of space for this table. Now, if that was like and I'm trying to look at it, I don't think that this is. If that was like an elevated playfield or a different level playfield where the ball could kind of get up there, and now you got flippers up there, and you're doing like a separate mission up top, and then it drops down low to the regular playfield, that maybe would have been kind of cool, and have those players reacting to what's going on in that secondary playfield. That would have been interesting. But to see it all just kind of be flat, and you've got, like I said, this is just a very much a teaser. The gameplay could change, but for me, I just think that that's a lot of real estate that we're using for like basically a glorified graphic, or like a like it would be like a toy on a real pinball playfield. But to me, I just like, that's sort of right where I would want to shoot the ball, where the ball would want to go is straight up the middle. And there's nothing to do once you get up there, right? I mean, I don't know if there's anything going on underneath. Maybe there is, but I guess if we look close, it's like there might be something going on underneath there. If you can get up underneath Jago and Kim Woo, there's something going on. Maybe are those bumpers underneath? It's kind of hard to tell. And in the playfield, or in the little teaser trailer here, the first look of the gameplay, the ball doesn't really go up there, but maybe, I don't know, that I'm looking at now, there could be something going on underneath there. Yeah, maybe. But and that would be cool, but I mean, there better be something under there. There better be something under those two characters, because for me, that's just a ton of real estate kind of being wasted. I wish it was a secondary playfield up high with flippers and something else going on besides just one character just kicking the other. I don't know. Like I said, maybe if you really rack up points and you get your combo count up, maybe they do something over the top and it's crazy. But for me right now, I'm not really too excited about it. Now, am I going to pick this up? I'm probably going to pick it up just because Battletoads to me look pretty cool, and the sounds are interesting, and it is a theme that I like. So I'm probably going to pick it up, and it is I'm going to say only $35, because yes, compared to other packs, it is expensive, but $35 isn't that bad. So I'll pick it up. I'll check it out. Speaking of pinball packs that I checked out today, I picked up a couple. Earth, Wind, and Fire Deluxe, I did have a chance to play. I enjoyed that. It's cool. It's fine. I had some fun with it, but I actually had a lot more fun with Black Belt, which is the other one that I picked up. I didn't think that I would, but it's got that upper play field that you can make it up to, and then that's interesting. There's also another flipper up top where where some of the toys are, where some of the targets are, and that was pretty fun. That was a lot of fun. So I think I had a lot more fun with Black Belt. I'm going to play more of them throughout the week and see which one I kind of gravitate towards. But I think for now it's going to be Black Belt. Also, that giant katana off to the right hand side of the playfield is kind of cool too. But I had more fun with definitely had more fun with Black Belt than Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was fine. It was mystical. It was fanciful and all that, and that was cool. But I really had a lot more fun with Black Belt. Let me know in the comment section which one you liked overall. I bought that pack when it was on sale for $17.50. Earth, Wind, and Fire have made great music. I think we're not talking about the same. And that's unfortunate, because if you thought that's what you were getting for that pinball pack, you're disappointed. That was not the same, not at all. But that would be maybe that was a pinball table. Who knows? The real tragedy is that it's not tied to the band. Again, I'm just picking these. Everybody's like, listen, that's the way you should have went. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the band would have been the way to go. I wish AtGames would release all these new pinball packs for the older HD hard. Well, that's another point of contention, right? Some of the new ones aren't going to be. Now, the two that I picked up had HD counterparts, so you could pick up these two. There's an HD version of these if you wanted. But that's probably not what you're wanting. You're wanting, this. You're wanting KI. That's what you're wanting. And I think these you should be able to pick this up, right? Because it's got the icon of the HD on the bottom. I don't know if that's a graphical error or a typo, but they've got it down there. So maybe this is part of the delay, the developmental delay of this, is they're trying to make it backwards compatible with HD, with the HD version. So we'll see. I think it's been delayed. Nothing's for sure. Nothing's official until it's official, and even then it still might not be official. So who knows at this point. But I'm glad that they're actually doing something like pursuing different IP and coming up with custom tables. So, I mean, I dig that. Earth, Wind, and Fire is what I get after eating Chipotle. You might want to consult a doctor. Play the music off your phone. There you go. That's the compromise, right? That's a compromise. Yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about that. Not really too much to talk about. The teaser was kind of cool, but also kind of what I expected. More gameplay footage is needed, I think, to really kind of sell me on it. But at $35, I mean, it's basically at this point an impulse buy for me. Maybe not for you. Okay, let's talk about something that maybe is nuts. Maybe it's crazy. Maybe you're like, what are you talking? Fox, you've been talking about this for years. Why are we having a new buyer's guide? Because believe it or not, there are new people getting into this hobby right now that don't know where to start. And they see all this, and can you imagine? Let's just sort of put ourselves in the mindset of somebody who's not really been paying a lot of attention to this. And maybe they see an image of the Revenge of Death Adder cabinet, for example. That sweet Sega cabinet. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love that. And they type it in and they can't find it, and it's nowhere to be seen. So then they start looking at Arcade1up, and they go to the website and they start looking for this and that. And there's a lot of stuff that they can't find. It's out there, but it's secondary markets. And what do they do? What's available? And where do you start? What are their options? The new guys, the new people. Much like the poll question, which Bob is struggling with. Struggling with the poll question. Toss up with the, I know the 4KP or the Silver Strike Bowling. Who knows which way you could go? That's the mark of a good poll question, when you struggle with all of it. So I try to put myself in the mindset of somebody brand new. They started today, and they're like, there's a lot of cabs that are out there. I'm seeing weird images. Some's available, some's not available. What happened? Were they replaced? Were they not replaced? So let's talk about what Arcade1up is doing now. And what Arcade1up is doing now is pathetic and horrible. We talked about this. It's your turn to play. No, I'm going to pass. Thank you. I'm not going to play any of this garbage that's right here in front of me. But that is not the totality of what is available right now. So if I had to answer the question, hey, Fox, I like Arcade1up. Which ones should I get? Where should I start? Let's say I've got $2,000, like the poll question. What should I do? Are these 3 cabinets right here, these new ones that are all plastered all over their website, is this all they have right now? Is this the best that they have? And I will say a resounding no. No. I'll sell you my Pac-Man for $600. I know what I have. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So it's important that we don't take advantage of the new Arcade1up buyers out there. Okay, I'm not going to advocate for that. Crazy people. What are you doing, Calvin? Come on. But we got to look at what's out there and what I would recommend or you would recommend actually purchasing. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about this. My 2 cents, my opinion. My opinion is not the all of opinions, but I think it's pretty important because it's mine. These 3 cabinets right here are pure trash and garbage, and they're not worth the $300 that they're charging for. And if you're trying to get into this and you're looking at $300, you got to ask yourself, what is it that you actually want? Do you want something that's closer to a full-size arcade or a stand-up arcade? Then you're going to have to get this for $300 and then one of the risers. So, you're $400. After taxes, you're close. If you went to Walmart and bought both of those items right now, you're close to $400. So that's the real price we're talking about. So you can spend $400 on these with their 16:9 monitors and hate life. Be very sad. Or you can look at some other options. So let's look at those other options right now. These are images that I pulled from the internet today. We're going to talk about where they're readily available, the websites and all that. We're going to start with the good old Walmart. And JJ says, if I started today, I didn't care about specific art, I'd go the multicade route for sure. Maybe start with a Pi, see how I like it, then get an AtGames Legends Ultimate HD used or OTG Steam. There you go. Less than a month away from the iconic arcade, right? No, listen, let me address this right now. No information. Nothing. They gave a YouTuber, my friend, be calm. They just gave him a statement a canned statement that he had to type out for us and give to us. The company themselves have offered no statements, nothing. They have cut off all communication. They have not on any shows, not doing anything, not talking to anybody, nothing, zero. So my confidence for that product is low. You know, it hasn't completely diminished to zero. It's not completely gone, but I don't know that it ever improved from what I saw in Vegas in January. They have shut the doors, locked it down, nothing. So at this point, I told you before, not just you, I told everybody, I didn't back it. I didn't pre-order because I was waiting to hear more, see a little bit more what was going to happen, what was going on. I wanted to get a look at the UI, user interface. I wanted to see kind of the build quality of like the final product, just get more information before I decided to pre-order. And instead of giving us more information, they gave us less information. They completely closed all communication. They're not talking to anybody. So we are left to just wonder and speculate. And that's not our fault. And that's not your fault. That's their fault for not continuing the conversation and speaking to, and I'm not saying us like YouTubers, I'm saying us like the home arcade community that was excited and ready to back the product. So yes, a month away, zero information, no new design images, pictures, details, nothing. So I'm still where I was at before. I'm not pre-ordering this thing. I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to, and if what I'm going to get is exactly what I saw at Vegas, I'm not happy with that. So that's a little bit of a tirade, a little bit of a rant, but I don't think it's, right to just shut down all communication when you have a community that's ready to help and participate and back your product and excited about it. I don't think it's right to just shut down everything and not say anything to anybody at all. When we were there trying to support you, cut us out. Hey, that's fine. But then don't expect me or anybody else to be your champion and wave the flag for you. You're on your own, man. Best of luck to you. Because there are some good people involved. I just wish that they, would maybe think enough of us to, speak. Sadly, Double Dragon won't happen. Yeah, Double Dragon's not going to happen. But we still had the original 2 cabinets. And they're not going to happen. Hey, Fox. Hey, what's going on, Fireside Arcade? Great to see you, man. Hi, Fox. Grateful my basement is full. Looking forward to the Switch 2 release. There we go. Yeah, so you're good, right? Your $2,000, you'd probably just buy 4 Switches, I guess. $2,000 for the Atari Star Wars Arcade1up cabinet. Mother's Day special today. Oh, that's a bargain. Reach out to a Tran Fanatic. He'll hook you right up. Speaking of being hooked up, a $2 super chat from Twisted Gaming TV. What's going on, Chris? Great to see you. Did Iconic Arcade refund everyone's money? That's a good question. And maybe that's the poll question I should do. Or maybe that's going to be the community post that I do and talk about. Let me just reach out to everybody and say, hey, listen, if you pre-ordered and decided to cancel, was your money refunded? Because I never pre-ordered. Thank you so much for your super chat, buddy. Great question as always. Got to hold these people accountable no matter who they are. And here you go. Yeah, Iconic never showed a finished product for production, just a Frankencab. Any of us could probably make from a shell. I have low expectations and no UI. Buyer beware. I would caution everybody to not pre-order at this point. Just because we've had 5 months and no communication, no nothing. We've seen no progression. I have to assume that the product is exactly what it was whenever we saw it in January, just because we don't have any information. I think that's fair. I'm not dogging. I'm not being optimistic or pessimistic. I'm just saying, well, based on zero information, we have to assume nothing has changed because you haven't told us anything's changed. Hopefully it has. Hopefully you're putting together a badass cabinet and we'll all be fighting over each other to get it. That would be the great problem to have. Tariffs and all that, I'm sure that's all part of it, but the lack of communication, there's just no excuse. No excuse at all. We can't have that. One thing we can have is a $2 super chat from my buddy Bob. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat, man. Happy Mom Day to the wife, bud. Thank you so much. And same thing to your wife. Hope you made it. Hope you did what you could to make it a special day for her. Thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. Here you go. So back to Arcade1ups, and if you started now, what could you get? What should you get? What would I recommend you buying? Well, let's look at the fact that we ain't getting these. We know that's garbage. What's out there right now? So let's look at Walmart. Walmart's been the place where you can get a lot of Arcade1ups, specifically the website, because what's in store, you're going to be stuck with the new stuff, and nobody wants that. So here's where you're at currently. Let's look at several of these. So if you're brand new to this, then you probably don't have a Pac-Man. So you haven't bought Pac-Man 4 or 5 times like most of us have. You know, it's not, someone talk about that. So $500 is where you're going to be for Pac-Man or Class of 81 or even Golden Tee. All deluxes, which is the way to go. No risers. It's two pieces that are stacked on top of each other to form one big side panel. And this would be a great place to start, depending on what kind of cabinet you want. Now, Big Buck Hunter is $600. If you like that game, if you've got room to stand back because that's a send-in light gun cabinet, I think that this is probably the best version of that cabinet if you like those games, because finally the actual monitor is up high enough for a normal person to hold the gun level. This thing was very low in its original form factor, and there is a Peasant Cade version that's available. Do not buy that. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. You'd have to be sitting on the ground in a beanbag, and you don't want to play it that way. $5.99 is kind of pricey. Unfortunately, I don't think that price is ever going to come down, so you're kind of stuck paying that if that's what you're interested in. Other games that are still available right now. So this is kind of a cool mix. So this cabinet is expensive. It's the most expensive Arcade1up when it came out. Still, I think it's one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive currently. And it's Time Crisis at $650. I don't think it's worth it, but it does have some cool games. Once again, it is send-in light gun technology. These guns have a sort of a cheap mechanic, a clicky clack. That's there's no motor like in the Terminator 2 cabinets. So this is just plastic and a spring, and it is what it is. You're not gonna get that real Time Crisis experience, especially when you talk about Arcade1up. But the cab shape is really cool. It is a shooting cabinet, so this is something you could also consider. And since there's really no other shooters out there besides Buck Hunter, this ain't a bad way to go. It's not a bad way at all. And a great way to go is another super chat. $10. This one from Jason Little Lady. And thank you so much for your $10 super chat, brother. Honey, I'm home. Happy Mother's Day, Fox. Glad you made it back. Hopefully you had a phenomenal steak dinner, because that's what's important. JT is down on the tariff action. This is the way the home arcade ends. Not with a smooshed Goomba, but a tariff. Yeah, we're not smashing Goombas. But I will say, I just did a community post. Check it out. The White House has issued a statement, like, for immediate release today. They have come to an agreement with China. I guess they were in Switzerland, and they actually came to an agreement. So they published this. This is on the official White House Twitter page, or X page, or whatever. They posted it. It's all out there. They have come to an agreement. Now, what is that agreement? What does it mean? Will everything just resume delivering as usual? I don't know, but at least they'll be able to have something that is calculable. So everybody that's selling stuff that ships from China can at least know how much extra they got to charge us. Or maybe nothing at all. I don't really know. So we'll see. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. And I don't think home arcade is ever going to end. It's just going to change. These small Chinese cabinets won't be the focus anymore. We'll go back to different things. There's some homegrown companies that are doing stuff now. So you got Time Crisis. Big Blue is still available. Now, there are other cabinets here we're going to talk about, but Big Blue is still available. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, the complaint I had about Big Blue was that the angle of the control panel, I didn't really like it. It was a little too steep for me, but some people really like it. It is one of the most unique looking cabinets that Arcade1up has ever done. No molded coin door. That kind of stinks. But this one at $550, which is $50 more than your deluxe cabinets, still comes with a stool. And this is available at Walmart. Now, 4-player cabinets have kind of gone the way of the dodo bird, sadly. I mean, they're just not out there anymore, with the exception of NBA Jam. Ugh. NBA Jam has had 13 different iterations. This, in my mind, is the best of all of the NBA Jams, and I'm going to include Shaq Jam in that because Shaq Jam had that horrible monitor and the flat control panel. This has the angled control panel. I was hoping this was going to be the way forward for all 4-player Arcade1ups. Sadly, that did not happen. That did not happen. I really wanted to see a revision of NFL Blitz because they put all that money into acquiring that license, but they never did. This would have been the way to go, in my opinion. In my mind, this would have been the way to have all your 4-player cabinets, but that unfortunately did not happen. I'm not that into stools. Yeah, stools aren't necessary. They were sort of packaged into some of the rumors or speculation was actually if you put a stool in there in the packaging, then it becomes, you could reclassify it as not an electronic but furniture, which I think had fewer tariffs or the shipping rates were different or something. So that's a lot of the reason why they added the stools. And they also wanted to add some value, but they knew they couldn't really drop the price down because of everything that I guess was included or the costs associated with actually shipping this over. So they put a stool in there. Now, if you get this and you don't want the stool, you could sell it, and get some money back, I guess, possibly. Mike Hawk, don't forget a KFC family pack, of course. Oh, yeah. The agreement is Trump gets a free Big Mac for every item. That's not bad. That's not bad for Trump. He's a hungry guy, and he likes his Big Macs. So, 4-player, the only 4-player new out there, in my mind, the best 4-player, the only 4-player deluxe, right there, NBA Jam, $570. This does drop down to $500 every once in a while, so just be patient on this one. But if you're looking for a 4-player and you don't have any, this is unfortunately going to be your only real option out there. Other ones that are open for discussion, maybe they have a little disclaimer, is going to be the X-Men 97, which is a sort of a tribute cab to the cartoon that came out, the first season of this cartoon. And it was on Disney Plus. A lot of people don't like this because of the artwork. I actually like it because of the artwork, but I did some changes we'll talk about a little bit later. This has the Marvel vs. Capcom PCB, basically. So all the Marvel versus games are in this. This is a fighting game cabinet. It's all Capcom, but it's got that midway shape. And it's $4.99. So if you like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and all those Marvel versus games, this is going to be the way to go. Sadly, no, there is no Punisher on this one, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. Another cabinet that's still available is Dig Dug. Now, buyer beware on this one. Yes, it's only $400 versus the $500 of everything else, but there's a problem, and that is the monitor. Now, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I had a Pac-Man, same generation, almost the same cabinet, obviously a little bit different shape. And it had the same issue. The Pac-Mania cabinet had the same issue with. There was a time when they went from BOE monitors, which are those nice IPS clear monitors, back to a TN monitor that had a horrible side edge lighting, and it just looked horrible. So if you get this, it's $400. You're gonna have to do a monitor swap. There are videos on this channel that tell you exactly how to do that, but there's some additional costs involved. The only way I would even consider or recommend this cabinet is if you really, really like Dig Dug. And if you want a unique cabinet shape, this is back when they were still doing it. Still available, still out there. And if you can put up with that monitor, I guess you're good. I guess you're fine. Other things to consider that are out there now. Let me scroll down here, go there. We're going to switch over to Amazon now, and probably the best bang for the buck are going to be these two cabinets right here. You're going to get 14 games in there. They are some of the best games, the biggest games from Capcom and Midway. And you can find the Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe for $450 all day long. So which begs the question, why in the hell would you settle for this garbage when it's going to cost you more to get this with a riser, and you're not getting a lit marquee, and you're getting fewer games and a smaller monitor and all that stuff. No molded coin door, nothing. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you like Mortal Kombat at all, do this right here. Oh, crap. Where's it at? Remove. Let me try that again. Here we go. And do this right here. This is the one you want. $4.49. You can find it all day long for this price, or you can even find it for $4.99. Depends on where you're looking. But this is, for the money, a really good deal. If you like Midway games, and it's got a great collection. Unfortunately, Paperboy is still on it, so that's one downside. But $4.49, that's the way you want to go. You go to Amazon, you can get that right now. And then, of course, Capcom with this great Dynamo HS5 shape. I really like this cabinet. It's been a subject of several builds on my channel, so that was really, really cool. Yeah, got to have tubing. Absolutely. So, yeah, I replaced the Dig Dug monitor, and it looks great, and the cab has some great games on it. It does have some great games on it, and it's got that unique shape, right? I think it looks really good. It's just a damn shame they had that horrible monitor in there. But if you're going to start now, you're brand new to the Arcade1up, these are the first two cabinets that I would pick up. Bang for the buck, 14 games each, great style and size and feel, and, you know, it's not bad. It's definitely the way that I would start for sure. Definitely want to do that. Okay, let's talk about some other things. Now let's talk about, let's go beyond this. How do I take that off? Some of these slides don't load like they're supposed to. Okay, so that's what's out there basically stock. Now there are other things out there like claw machines and just stuff that I'm not even going to talk about because I don't like any of that stuff. You know, casino cades, you know, if it's a slim cade, if it's a slim NBA Jam, I don't like that at all. I don't think anybody should waste their money on any of that. But that's what's out there right now. So you can see there's still several cabinets out there that you're going to be able to buy right now from a retailer with free shipping and money back guarantees and all that stuff. There's a lot of games out there that you're not going to be able to find, and that's really, really, really sad. Really kind of sucks. And the reason why is because most of these games do sort of move with each cabinet. So the Capcom, the Midway, the Namco cabinets, they did regular cabinets way back in the day, the Generation 1 stuff. But then the Legacies combined all those games. So the games list kept growing and growing and growing. And when you got to the Deluxes, those last two I showed you, they've got all the games on them. They got the best style and size, lid marquee, all that stuff, right? And everything looks really good. The marquees look good and bright, all that stuff. But you're going to have some stuff out there that you cannot find, and you're probably going to want to get your hands on. And that's kind of rough. One of these is something you really wouldn't think about as far as being like collectible or desirable, because it was a Generation 3 cabinet from back in the day. And this is the Marvel Superheroes cabinet that only had 3 games on it. But one of those games was Punisher. Unfortunately, the Punisher was on this cabinet, and then they had a limited edition version of the same cabinet. And then they had the Countercade, but they quit putting the Punisher game on all of these Marvel properties because of the violence, I guess. Which is really sad because it added a lot of variety to this games list. You had fighters, and it was nice to be able to jump in and have a side-scrolling beat-em-up, especially something cool like Punisher. So you're going to be missing out on that because unless you can find this secondhand, which you can find it secondhand, but buyer beware. Just because it has orange T-molding and is limited edition, it doesn't mean it's worth $600-700. It's not even really worth $500. You should be able to pick this thing up with the blue T-molding, and maybe it won't have a riser, but that's okay, for just a couple $100. And you can have a BOE monitor with lit marquee, and you're gonna now the marquee is gonna be washed out, but you can have that Punisher game. But let's say you can't find it, but you've got another cab. What can you do? Well, I've got a whole playlist on my channel of taking deluxe cabinets, those nice cabinets that we saw that you can pick up for $500 or sometimes cheaper, depending on $450, and you can do what's called a PCB swap. So you can take a PCB and put it in these cabinets, and now you have the games list on this cabinet. And eBay is a great place to go to find PCBs. Also, Facebook Marketplace, right? We talked about used cabinets. You can also find parts or maybe cabinets that are jacked up, but the PCB still works. Well, that's all you really need to harvest and put in a newer cabinet. So this is what you do. You go, maybe you find this one and you want Punisher, but you can't find a good cabinet. Go to eBay and look for the PCB for the games you want. Marvel Superheroes is just one example of, of a game that you can't really find out there as far as Arcade1up goes on the new cabinets, but that doesn't mean you have to give up hope. Sometimes you can find these. I think there's one on eBay right now for like $60, and it's brand new, but there's used PCBs out there. Like I said, buyer beware. Make sure that you use like a reputable pay method, something like PayPal, where you can get your money back or dispute a claim. But PCB swaps are a great way to go if you're trying to modernize an older games list, or just maybe Maybe this is the only way you can get your hands on some of these games. The Sega, we talked about the different cabinets that are out there. Maybe somebody brand new sees a picture of the Sega Revenge of Death Adder, and they're like, oh, I wish I could find that. Well, maybe you can't find the cabinet, but maybe you can find the PCB. And if you can find the PCB, you can put it in a 4-player cabinet. Maybe you go out and you get NBA Jam, and then you decide, hey, I'm going to do the swap. Put it in there. If you're going to do that, though, there's other things you have to consider. This comes to, these images are courtesy of DIY Retro Arcade, another great resource if you want to do some modding or switching. You want to put some sandwall controls in cabinets. One thing to consider is when you get the PCB, you want to get the encoder with the game if you're putting it in a cabinet that is radically different. Now, radically different maybe doesn't mean the number of buttons, but it could mean the way that the joystick plugs into that encoder. So some of the first and second generation 4 players, or really 2 players, or just, you can see that they're denoted by that 40-pin connector, that big connector. The picture on the right-hand side is some of the earlier versions. The later versions had the smaller 12-pin connector. But the joysticks would plug in different ways. Sometimes the joysticks just have one connector that go into the encoder, and that takes care of all your directions. Sometimes there were 2 different plugs per joystick. And so that made it, kind of very confusing and very cumbersome, but that's also the way that it connects and communicates with the PCB. The 2 are a pair. So that's something you got to be conscious of and aware of, is that one quick way to do this is to look at the ribbon cable itself. Open up the back of your cabinet and take a look at the ribbon cable. All the new ones, if you go and you buy a new cabinet, it's going to have that smaller, skinnier ribbon cable, the 12-pin connector. The 12-pin connector is what you're looking for, but then you still got to look at this encoder to see how many connectors are required for your joysticks. It's something you really want to pay close attention to. You don't want to take it for granted. Like this $10 super chat I just got from B Kirby. Thank you so much, brother, for your $10 super chat. Appreciate the support for the channel. Regardless of all the crap people talk about Arcade1up, if you're new to the hobby, they still have some decent cabs to start your at-home little arcade room. Absolutely. And I want to highlight that tonight because I know we've been negative on the channel for a while, deservedly so, with the direction the company has gone, the most recent decisions that they've made. But the decisions they've made in the past were pretty good. That's why we all got in this hobby to begin with. Thank you so much for your $10 super chat, brother. Always appreciated. And here you go. Giovanni, yes, you did. You made it. You has made it. I was talking to an arcade importer company, and they told me that Arcade1up cabs are actually really popular in Japan. And there's a lot of people who want them because of the small size. Yes, but they stopped selling Arcade1ups in Japan, which is sad because they're missing the boat. They missed the market for sure. So PCB swaps are a thing. Check out my channel. It's called the Deluxe Builds playlist, and I've got at least 4 videos out there showing you how you can do a PCB swap. And I actually took an X-Men 4-player PCB and put it in my X-Men 97 Deluxe. That was a pretty cool one. So go check that out if you want some ideas. And there's also other ideas from other content creators out there, people that are making videos of different mods and different projects, so you can kind of get the right games in the right cabinet for you. It's kind of a great time to do this in some ways. In other ways, not so much, because sadly there are some cabinets that are just gone and they're not coming back. And let's just list a couple of these right now. So unfortunately, you've all missed the boat, newcomers, newbies. Star Wars. You missed out on Star Wars. 2 different iterations. They're both risered cabs. They had the same shape, even though these pictures look a little bit different. The shape was exactly the same. The second time around, the re-release of Star Wars, they did do a molded coin door, and some of the decals on the front, they did that on the riser to kind of make that all match. They did the matching side art to kind of make all that blend in better. So the riser definitely blends in really nice with the Star Wars cabinet. Now, these are still out there. You can find them without the riser for actually fairly cheap. You're talking about maybe $300, which I guess is not cheap, but in comparison to brand new and the fact that they are rare, they are out there. You can find them. I think one of the newest listings I saw was actually $200 for the first version of this without the coin door and no riser. So, but hey, listen, you can always buy a secondhand riser, make one. You know, you could look go to great companies like GI Joel, and he'll make you an inline riser for your Star Wars cabinet, and it's going to look even better than you know, this risered version here. And you can also get them at custom heights. Tron is another one that unfortunately you've missed the boat on, and it's just gone. And there's no way to do a PCB swap really on any other cabinet to make that work. It's really not going to work out. Those cabinets were great. They're highly sought after, and if you do find them secondhand, they want a very, very pretty penny for those. Some of the other ones this is like a head scratcher. The 4-player cabinets just sort of evaporated. They didn't continue them at all. Now, we had two generations of 4-player cabinets. Well, I guess 3. We'll talk about the first generation, and really was embodied, and the thing that kind of ushered in this 4-player movement was the first Turtles cabinet. I still have this cabinet, bought it brand new at Walmart. My wife bought it for me, and I've not had any issues with this cabinet at all. No PCB issues, nothing. It just works. Now, there's no live functions or anything like that. There's no online leaderboards, but it was the first 4-player, and I absolutely loved it. The other 4-player cabinets, I actually had all of the first generation 4-players. So I had the Sega, I had NBA Jam, and those were awesome. All looked very similar to that old shark fin design. This was the 3rd generation of Arcade1ups. The 2nd generation 4-players looked very much like what you see on the right-hand side with the X-Men. You had Turtles in Time. You also had, this is where Simpsons came in with the Simpsons bowling and everything. And I had a big problem with the shape of these cabinets. I didn't like them. I didn't like the shape. I didn't like the flat control panel. By the second time you see this on a 4-player cabinet, you're like, come on, you angle this thing. Angle it down. What are you doing? Now, they eventually did do that. If you go up here to this iteration here, you're talking about this NBA Jam, this 4-player, I would have loved to see this be the true third generation of the 4-player. That would have been incredible. That would have been awesome. Included in this 2nd generation, I would also put obviously NBA Jam. They continued that on. They didn't really change it too much. They did give it more of a midway shape, but it still had a riser. And then, well, no, they didn't do that. They just continued the shark fin with the riser, and they didn't change it up until we saw this one here, which I really, really like. I wish it wasn't NBA Jam. I wish it was Blitz. But Blitz came out, and it was the midway shape for sure, 4-player, and it had those Hall effects. I guess Hall effects mimicking. It tried to mimic the 149-way or the 49-way joysticks that the original cabinets had. So it wasn't you couldn't just plug in like one of your standard 8-way joysticks and it worked. It's not going to work that way. It's a totally different kind of joystick, which is, I guess, a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, it's going to mimic the game. It's going to give you better gameplay, but at the same time, it's going to be really hard to find replacement parts, because once those replacement parts are gone, they're gone. Nobody's reproducing those at all, and that's kind of a damn shame. Like I said, there's no way to really just plug in an 8-way Sanwa and away you go. So it was sad to see these go for sure, because the 4-player cabinets would have been really cool if they could have continued that on, but unfortunately, it just sort of is what it is. Those PCBs are out there. You can find them. Obviously, you're going to be putting those in 2-player cabinets if you don't go with this new NBA Jam, which means you're going to have to be concerned about the number of players. Now, if you want some pointers, some information on how to maybe make a 2-player version of those control panels, I did that on my X-Men cabinet. Israel is in the house. He's the one that actually purchased that from me, and I think he's enjoying it. I hope he's still enjoying it. But it's the 4-player version that I made. It's a 2-player version of the 4-player cabinet. It is possible to do this. So if you're just jumping into the Arcade1up scene, you do still have some options. And yes, unfortunately, you've missed the boat on some of the really cool cabinets. Dragon's Lair is also another one that kind of slipped through the cracks. You're not going to be able to get your hands on one of those, unfortunately. But there are deals to be had out there. There are still cabinets out there. And there's just ways you can go about it, kind of making what you want, because unfortunately, Arcade1up is headed in a direction that, you know, most of us aren't really excited about. There's not a lot of value there for sure. Maybe value for Arcade1up, but really not much value for us. Israel is still rocking it. Yeah. Glad you still like it, man. So yeah, you also have, so they have Fast and Furious on sale right now. Fast and Furious is a cabinet that is a driving cabinet, currently available. If you want to get that, that's fine. I have a review. I have 3 different review videos about every aspect of that cabinet on this channel, so check those videos out. My word of caution about Fast and Furious is that those are not arcade ROMs, which is a problem I have when you're talking about a recreation arcade product. They really need to have the arcade ROM on it. And that was, for me, a reason why it was left off the list. But if you want a driver, I guess beggars can't be choosers, right? Sort of is what it is. So there's hope. There's channels out there dedicated to this. There's old reviews. There's old mod videos. There's still a lot of excitement you can have by jumping in right now, buying some secondhand cabinets, buying some new cabinets, and you can build a pretty sizable arcade. Our disappointment, the people that have been around for a while, really just stems from the fact that Arcade1up, I think, was going in a pretty good direction for a while. But then eventually, for some reason, they just radically changed course. So I think the future of the company, unfortunately, doesn't look that exciting to me. But if you're brand new to the hobby, there's still something to get excited about. Would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
There's nothing in my glass, which means the show is over. We got to wrap it up. But before we do, we got to talk about that poll question. Jump up over here. We're going to take a look at the poll question. And everybody, members of the channel, don't worry. Stay right here. You're going to be automatically redirected to the after show where we talk about all kind of craziness, give you a little bit of behind the scenes of what's going on, and I answer every single one of your questions. If you're interested in becoming a member of this channel, it's only $5 a month. There's only one pay tier, $5. That's it. You get access to after shows. You get access to special community posts and videos that I don't let anybody else see. And you also get first dibs on anything in my arcade I might be selling. Let's move on to that poll question. 111 votes. Thank you so much, everybody who took the time to vote. It means a lot. We're going to post these results. Let me go ahead and click this. And go ahead. We're going to capture this image so we can post this and talk about it later. And there we go. Okay, so coming in the number 4 spot. If you had $2,000 to start your new home arcade right now, what would you do? Well, the last thing you would do is go get a used Golden Tee or Silver Strike bowling pedestal. Okay, yeah, I guess it's kind of a big thing. This is the only thing on the list you can't buy brand new for $2,000. It's kind of expensive, but they are definitely crowd pleasers. Everybody can play them, but I get it. 11% say they would go that route. Coming in number 3 spot, this is wow, okay. The AtGames 4KP coming in a fairly distant 3rd spot. Wow, okay, only 16%. So which one took the cake? Was it Arcade1up? Was it a multicade? Drum roll, please, with 43% of the vote. You might be surprised, you might not be surprised. It's a Vuelix / Candy Cab / multicades win the day. Picking up 4 Arcade1ups just for some people just doesn't quite cut the mustard, doesn't quite scratch that itch, especially when you're considering starting a brand new arcade. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. If you're watching me on the replay, I appreciate you coming in after and checking out the channel. Everybody here, have a great rest of your weekend, the few hours that are left. Don't work too hard. We are going to be skipping next Sunday because I'm going to be out of town because my niece is graduating high school. She doesn't live close. She lives in Iowa. So I'm going to be on the road. So everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Relax. But before I slide out of here, I got to say hi to this guy who just dropped a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Gallagher Guy. If you are a member, you get to skip the line at oh, jeez. Cleveland Gaming Classic to play Fox's Star Wars Arcade. This is a lie. It's all done in good fun, but I appreciate it. You scoundrel. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and check out the channel. You have a blessed day, and I'll see all of you right back here next time. Well, in 2 weeks. Peace.